What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another week of fun. I am super stoked to be here. Appreciate you guys hanging out, watching. I hope if you're in the Midwest, I hope you're staying warm. It is cold in my basement. I think I said this last week, but it feels like I'm battling my own ice bowl here. I at least got a sweatshirt on this week. Last week I just had a t-shirt on, so we're doing better already this week. Before we get too far into the fun, let's grab this giveaway. We'll drop this in here. If you're new here, if it's your first time watching, enter your information in this form here, this Google form. And what I will do is I will pick a winner later on. You do have to be here to claim your prize. So just make sure you're checking in periodically. I don't have a set time of when I do it. Generally, it's about 2/3 of the way through the show or so. But just enter your name in one time, and we'll kind of take it from there. Seeing people check in. Oh, why is my name showing? My name never shows on here. How do I get rid of that? You guys don't need to see who I am. Does it show? I think it shows for you guys that too. I feel like StreamYard's always making like updates of stuff, and I never know how to like fix it. I guess not that it's a huge deal, but whatever. It's fine. You guys know I'm Ben now. Not that you didn't know that already. I see the Tully's checking in. Oh, and it updated my everything here, man. This is annoying. The struggles. Hold on, I'm fixing this. If it'll let me. All right, there. That's a little bit better anyway. I don't know why everything like reset, but that's fine. I see the Tully's checking in from Iowa, saying their face hurts. The air hurts their face, I should say. I agree with you. Not that I go outside much. I work remotely, so I don't generally go outside too often if I don't have to. We have Keith checking in. Good to see you, Keith. My guy, Matt. Good to see you, man. Corey and Logan. I would assume Logan's there. Corey and Logan. Good to see you guys. Ron. Good to see you as always, sir. Oh, Matt says I have a question. Hit me, Matt. Let's do it. We got Heather. Good to see you, Heather. Matt checking in from YouTube as well. Good to see you. You're bumping up my metrics here, Matt. I appreciate that. Facebook and YouTube. I'm here. Give me free stuff. Emily, good to see you checking in. Thanks for checking in. Thanks for hanging out. Let's see. I see Bailey. Good to see you, Bailey. Steve, full disclosure, if I can't verify it's you, you can't win. So I don't know what your giveaway name is. But if I can't verify it's you, it's hard to get you as a winner. Full disclosure. So we'll see if that happens. But Jesse, good to see you from Kakana, Wisconsin. Still waiting for Matt's question. Matt said he had a question. Haven't seen it yet. I don't know if he's too busy diving into Madden or whatever he's got going on over there. Living the dream as usual. How's your week going? How's everyone doing? Everyone staying warm? I see people here from the Midwest. I see Iowa. I don't know, Bailey. I know you're in Indiana. I don't know if it's cold there as well, but it's nice and brisk here. It's probably, I think it was like negative 17 or something today. I don't remember. And then Janelle, good to see you, Janelle. Matt says, if I could have dinner with I would assume any current Packer player, who would it be? What is the first question you'd ask? Any current Packer player. I'm going to say my boy, my guy, Adrian Cooper. I don't know. I think it would be fun to sit down. What would be the first thing I ask? I mean, generally in a conversation, it's, hey, how's it going? So that'd probably be the first thing I ask if I'm getting super technical. But I don't know. I think I'd probably ask him about his first impressions of Green Bay. I don't know off the top of my head exactly where he's from, but I'd be curious to see his thoughts on the weather here and that fun stuff. Yeah. Sweet. We got Ben from Cali. Oh, 55 degrees. I'm jealous of that. Cool. Let's we're gonna be doing some questions later here, some burn hot questions. This episode's probably going to be a little bit more relaxed. There obviously wasn't a Packers game, so usually I really try to dive in into what's going on in the Packers game, talk about like kind of the ins and outs, pros and cons, good things, bad things, all that fun stuff. I watched playoff football all weekend, but I didn't stay glued to it like I would Packers football. So pretty I don't know, high level overview of here of some of the games. Now, one game I did watch most of was the Commanders and Lions game, which we'll probably talk the most about. Starting out in the AFC, though, the Chiefs knocked off the Texans 23-14. I didn't watch a ton of the game. I watched some of it. There's definitely some ticky-tacky calls, which is fine. We talked about that last week. Ticky-tacky calls are going to happen. It's unfortunate when it happens. One thing I will say, though, is I really wish the NFL would kind of try to do something about some of the flopping you see. There was that play later on. The drive, I believe, I think it was on the same drive that already got extended by a roughing the passer that shouldn't have been a roughing the passer. And then, or no, maybe it was when he slid. It might have been the same drive as him sliding last second, and they called a flag on it for the guys trying to tackle him. But then later on that drive, Mahomes runs out of bounds last second. The defender kind of puts his hands on him to like make sure he goes out of bounds, and then Mahomes like flops way out of bounds all dramatically. And I think the NFL really should do something about those types of things. One, it's like you're already, as a defensive player, you're already so like hesitant about doing anything when a quarterback's outside the pocket and running. And I think those types of things just make it worse if a player is just going to blatantly flop. Now, thankfully, the refs didn't call it. The refs didn't entertain it. But still, there are times where it gets called. We saw the Packers. Who was the quarterback in that one? Where the Packers, was it against Chicago? In Chicago that Caleb Williams flopped? Was that who it was? But we saw it earlier in the year where the Packers got a penalty and the player, whoever it was, out of bounds completely flopped, and they called a 15-yard. Now, we've seen the Packers guilty of it as well. We saw one of our offensive linemen do it. Where was it Jenkins? Was it Elton Jenkins? We've seen Packers players do it as well, but I feel like at a certain point you can't just flop and get 15 yards. It's not a good look for the NFL. Either way, the Chiefs are going to, I believe, their 7th straight AFC championship game, which is just mind blowing. I mean, it's absurd how successful they've been in the span. It's kind of funny. Looking back, I saw someone repost, I think it was the 2018 AFC team, or the 2018 AFC. Was it 2018 or 2019? Either way, I remember someone had reposted what part of America wanted the Chiefs to win. And it was like all of America, I think, except for the Patriots. So I think it was from the 2018 season. All of America except the Patriots wanted the Chiefs to win. And now it's funny that here we are 6-7 years later, and it'd be completely opposite. I feel like no one wants the Chiefs to win, but that's what happens when you're a successful franchise for as long as the Chiefs have been, as of late anyway, really been successful. Then we saw the Bills and Ravens, which was an incredible game. I watched most of that as well. It felt like the Ravens were maybe the better team in that game. However, they just had too many self-inflicted wounds. Maybe you give Bills the credit for that, I guess. You shouldn't say the Ravens are the better team when Bills are generating turnovers and such, but it really, I mean, the Ravens were still in it until the end, despite those 3 costly turnovers. Lamar had the early fumble. He had the early interception. And then you had, I think Mark Andrews had that fumble as well. So 3 costly turnovers, but still to lose by 2 points off a pretty frustrating drop by Mark Andrews. I just hope that the Bills, my hope was whoever won that game could represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. So I'm hoping the Bills can represent the Super Bowl. Eagles and Rams was another really good one that came down to the wire. It looked like the Eagles were all about putting that one away, and then the Rams kind of turned it on there at the last minute, a little too late. Then it had some like just weird play calling at the end. They didn't block Jalen Carter properly, took a big sack, and then on that 4th and forever, Matthew Stafford just kind of threw it out of bounds rather than throwing it up and trying to make a play. It was a weird ending there. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I don't really want to see. I told my wife if it's like another Eagles Chiefs Super Bowl, I don't know that I'll care to watch it too much. It'd just be nice to see like a Bills Commanders Super Bowl, just to kind of do some fresh teams. Then, of course, the big one, the big game, the one that I think all of us were pretty happy to watch, was the Lions taking on the Commanders. This is one I'm probably going to talk most about because I watched it most. Before I kind of dive in, I will kind of look over some comments here. I know Jesse's mentioning here about Devontae Adams, bringing Devontae back. We talked about that a little bit last week, and it's definitely in favor of that if the money situation's right. Dylan, that's pretty wild that you have snow on the ground in Baton Rouge. Wow, we don't even have snow here in Green Bay. It's just really cold, but there's no snow on the ground right now. Yeah, Jason, I couldn't agree more, man. I certainly like Mahomes, right? I think we all dislike Mahomes because he's so good and they win so much. But if he was your quarterback, you'd love to have him on your team. But it does look really bad to be doing that, and it looks very Bush League. Let's see here. Dylan, yeah, as far as it felt like the snow really impacted the Rams. They had that one pretty costly fumble where Stafford just kind of dropped the ball as he was being hit. Snow is always a tougher challenge to play in, and Eagles stepped up in it. It is what it is. But yeah, the Washington game and the Lions game, what a shocker. Last week we said the scenario was if any number 1 seed team fell that we would do a bonus giveaway tonight. So with the Lions falling to the Commanders 31-45, we will be doing a bonus giveaway. Wow. I did not expect that at all. I was hoping the Commanders could maybe put together a good game for it, but they really beat the Lions at their own game. They were incredibly efficient on 4th downs. They went 3 for 4 on 4th downs, and they converted a 4th down by having the Lions have 12 men on the field. They rattled Goff. Goff had 3 interceptions, a fumble, and then Jameson had an interception as well. So creating 5 turnovers to really amplify that win. We've obviously seen it before as Packers fans, but that bye week, as nice as it is to get some rest, it can really hinder things. When you have an offense that's firing on all cylinders like Detroit had this year, to give them a week of rest can kind of make for a slower start or make for some sluggishness in that offense, which we kind of saw against Washington. Now they still put up plenty of points. 31 points is still a lot of points. Their defense, they're dealing with some injuries there, of course. They gave up a pick 6, so 38 points defensively given up. The Lions joined the Packers as the only team to win 15 games in a regular season and not win a postseason game. Not good company to be in for sure. Although that 2011 season was really fun. Yeah, this postseason has made everyone in the NFC North kind of look like losers. The Packers, Vikings, and Lions all had stellar years for the most part. I mean, all of them had enough to make it to the postseason. Collectively, between the division or throughout the division, we had 40 wins between those 3. And then all of them got eliminated from the postseason without a single win. Now you might be asking, okay, well, you said everyone in the NFC North loses. You just named 3 of them. Well, the Bears, if I'm a Bears fan and I watched Jaden Daniels do what he just did, and he's taking his team to an NFC championship game in his first year as a starter, I might be wondering, did we draft the right quarterback? And I do think I think Caleb's going to be a good quarterback in the league, and I think he's going to be around for a long time in the league. And I'm certainly not saying that, but as a Packers fan, I think I have to be real with myself if I say that I as of right now, where the chips are on the table as of right now, I think I'm much happier playing Caleb Williams twice a year than Jaden Daniels. Caleb has great arm talent. He can definitely get out of the pocket. He can extend plays. He can do a lot of things. But right now, Jaden can beat you with his arm. He looked like he had some incredible arm talent against Detroit. I admittedly I haven't watched a ton of Washington football this year, but he looks like he has some phenomenal arm talent. And then on top of that, he can extend plays with his legs and make you pay with with his legs. He's able to run options, which we saw them abuse Detroit with. Yeah, I mean, if I'm Chicago, I might be thinking, man, I kind of wish we would have taken Jaden Daniels over Caleb. However, we're very early on into careers. A lot can happen in that time span. And I do think Caleb's going to be very, very good. But to take your team as a rookie, your team that was drafting second overall, I believe they were drafting second overall. Maybe correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if they traded back up. My memory on that isn't the greatest, but I believe they're drafting second overall. So their team was not very strong last year. And to draft Jane Daniels, yeah, it looks like a phenomenal decision. And now he's playing for a chance to go to the Super Bowl. I can't wait. If he has this continued success, I can't wait to be talking about how much I hate Jaden Daniels in another 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, and how much I hate the Commanders. We haven't seen, it's been a while since we've seen a dynasty in the NFC. It's been since the Cowboys in the early 90s that we've seen a dynasty in the NFC. So I don't know. Maybe they're due for one, and maybe the Commanders are that team. We'll see. What is interesting to me though is after seeing the Lions and the Vikings have the season they did, and the Packers, of course, and having us all lose, you always hear NFC North opponents or rivals. They always say, "Oh man, the Packers had 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks back to back, and they only won 2 Super Bowls. They only won 2 Super Bowls. 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and you only win 2 Super Bowls." And I think the Lions team this year and last year showed that it is very hard to get to a Super Bowl. Now, I know some teams can really make it look easy. We've seen the Chiefs and the Patriots. Some teams can really make it look easy, but there is a lot that needs to go right for that to happen. The Lions probably should have went to the Super Bowl this year. They should have went to the Super Bowl last year. They had the 49ers on the ropes. They got a little Dan Campbell did his his riverboat gambling and lost, and ultimately ended up losing that game. They've dealt with injuries this year, and that's part of the equation. It shows how hard it is to make it to a Super Bowl. Now, I think they had like 18 or 20 players out on defense, and I've seen a lot of Lions fans that are like, "Oh, we had so many players hurt and so many players on IR. Of course, we didn't win." And meanwhile, the Packers in 2010 had 16 players on the injured reserve. And this was back when injured reserve meant you were done for the season, not that you couldn't bring players back. Packers had 16 players on injured reserve. They had to go the road the entire way, and they still won a Super Bowl. Just goes to show how hard it is to win a Super Bowl. You can have things going your way, and you don't win. We saw that with the 15-1 Packers. Now we saw that with the 15-win Lions. And you can have maybe years where it's not going your way as much, and you put together a good run and you get hot at the right time. So I hope this kind of opens the eyes of like, oh, you had this great quarterback and you've only, these two great quarterbacks and you only won 2 Super Bowls. You only made it to 3 Super Bowls. It's not easy to do. And were there plenty of opportunities for the Packers to make more? Absolutely. We had plenty of NFC Championship games where Aaron Rodgers struggled in. We had miscues. We had issues, and that's football. That's why it is very hard. And no thing, nothing, nothing, no playoff success is guaranteed. Um, it's a chip in a chair, and that's the beautiful thing about playoffs. It's not a best of 7 for the NFL. It's not a best of 7. It's a one and done, and anything can happen, which is beautiful. It looks like as well the Lions are losing both of their coordinators from the sounds of it. They've already lost one. They lost Ben Johnson. He was hired by Chicago, so we're going to be seeing him twice a year still, which should be interesting. I saw a lot of Detroit fans are really upset that he chose Detroit, or excuse me, that he chose to go to Chicago. I don't know what Ben was looking for out of a franchise. But if I'm a head coach and I'm looking at some of the options and some of the openings, I feel like Chicago is probably one of the better fits for a coach like him. You have an offense who added a couple really strong pieces last year. You have cap space. Now you're still dealing with the old GM. So I know there's some rumors that he wanted some like GM say. So you don't necessarily get that if you're in Chicago. Maybe you can have a lot of input of what goes on. I feel like as a young coach and a first time head coach, I think that kind of gives him his best chance of being successful because they are a young team. They have a lot of young explosive weapons. They've been drafting high. They got another high round of draft picks coming in. That's a great spot for them. It feels extra personal because it's an NFC North team and it's in your division. We saw that when Brett Favre went to the Vikings, it felt a lot more personal. But it should be interesting. And then I saw their defensive coordinator. Looks like he's maybe talking to the Jets, and there's some interest there in him going to the Jets. So it'll be interesting to see the Lions with potentially two new defensive two new coordinators next season. And how much is that going to shake up their offense and defense? And are they going to see that kind of turnover and that learning curve with it? Who knows? We'll see. We'll see on that. I also did see some news today that Kevin O'Connell got an extension with the Vikings, so he's going to be sticking around for a bit. It's going to be a competitive division for a little while. I think we talked a little bit about Minnesota last week on their draft pick status this year, which is interesting. Right now, they only have a first-round pick and 2 fifth-round picks. Plus, they have a slew of people about ready to hit free agency. So I'm not going to make predictions on anything because I was on Matt's podcast before the season started, and I said that I thought Minnesota was going to be the weakest team in the NFC North, and clearly I was wrong on that. So I have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm just here. We're going to be doing some questions here soon. Before I do, here's that giveaway form. Once again, if you haven't submitted your name there, do so once again, please. If you haven't, do so there. Unlike Steve, please use something that I can verify who you are, because if I can't verify you, I can't, and you win, I can't validate that you're the winner. So make sure you do like a name or something that I'll be able to identify you as. So we'll see. Hopefully Steve doesn't win because I won't be able to know. But yes, feel free to start dropping some questions. It doesn't have to be football related questions. If you're wondering, I know Matt had a fun question about, hypothetical about Packer players, stuff like that. It doesn't have to necessarily be just football related questions. Whatever you guys are thinking, whatever you're feeling. Like I said, it's a pretty casual through the Super Bowl now, just because the Packers are out of it. So it's not. I still really enjoy watching playoff football. and football in general, even when the Packers aren't playing. But I don't focus on it as much. I have a son who's 18 months old. I spend a lot of time with him and my wife. So football isn't my main priority in a lot of ways. When the Packers are playing, we make sure as a family we watch it. But other than that, we spend a lot of time just hanging out and playing with my son and his toys and stuff like that. So, all right, yeah, let's get into some burning hot questions. A huge thank you to Legendaries for sponsoring the show all season long. I am so stoked to be working with them. If it's your first time watching, that's news to you. If it's not your first time watching, like a lot of people in here, that's news to no one. Or if you've been around my page, I love Legendaries. Absolutely one of my favorite places in Green Bay, and it was that way even before they were sponsoring my show. I'm not just saying that because they sponsor me. All we talked about all season long. They've been doing some great deals. Season's done now. So what I will say is, if you are in the area, I see some people half hour away, some people in Kakana. If you're in the area, to be a hero this Super Bowl, show up to some Super Bowl party that you're invited to. Don't just show up at some random Super Bowl party that you're not invited to, but go to a Super Bowl party that you're invited to. Go pick up some wings from Legendaries. They have 50 wing packs, 100 wing packs. I'm telling you, if someone shows up at my door with 50 wings, 100 wings, DOA wings, some Scary Larry wings, some good stuff, I'd maybe consider letting you in if you're going to share those wings. So be a hero. Go get some 50-piece wings, 100-piece wings, and make your Super Bowl party a good one. And if you're not in the area, I know there's a lot of people not in the area. They do sell their sauces online, so purchase some sauces and make your own wings at home, or pick up some wings from a good spot close by and utilize some of their sauces. So, yeah, shout out to Legendaries. Matt asking another great question. Who is my favorite actor of all time? Matt, you're going to be disappointed. I don't know. I don't watch a ton of movies. I just feel like right now my schedule sucks with it. My favorite actor of all time. I don't know. That's a good question. I might have to think on that. There's a lot that I really enjoy, but as far as like a favorite actor of all time, it's a really tough one. Yeah, I don't know, man. I really like Edward Norton. He's in one of my favorite movies, American History X. Um, I just watched Interstellar for the first time not long ago. That was pretty great. Matt Damon's in there. I'm a big Matt Damon guy because he's been in a few movies that I've really liked. Dude, I don't know. I don't watch a ton of movies. I feel like I just watch the same stuff over and over again. So sorry to disappoint. That's a pretty bad one. Who is your favorite past and current player? Favorite past player, for sure, without a doubt, is Desmond Bishop. That just goes to kind of some of the relationships and stuff I've been able to build with him off the football field. Great guy on the football field. He was phenomenal. Current player probably is Edrin Cooper. I must just like linebackers. I don't know, but Edrin, I like his explosiveness he brings to the defense. He's a young guy. I'm excited to see what he has. Great question though. Yeah, Chris. Yeah, I'm hopeful that they can put it down to. I'd love to see the Bills win a Super Bowl. That's my ideal situation, is the Bills finally win a Super Bowl. We were talking earlier about how hard it is to make it to a Super Bowl. Look at the Bills. The Bills have had some incredible teams, and they just cannot get there. The Chiefs, keep knocking them out. It's hard to get to a Super Bowl, no matter what. No matter how good you are, it's hard to get to a Super Bowl. Any given Sunday is a thing. So, legendary shout out for sure, Matt. Ben says, what wide receiver would you like to see the Pack get if they were to pick one in free agency or trade? Good question, Ben. I would really like. I would really like Devontae. We talked about this last week, and I think there's a lot of factors for it. One, if we go out and get a wide receiver, and if we were to sign Devontae, Matt really knows Devontae already. He's coached him before. Devontae knows the offense. We know what we're getting with Devontae. Now, Devontae left. The situation with Rodgers was kind of up in the air. We didn't know what was happening there. He wanted to go play at home. His grandma had never seen him play professional football. She hadn't been able to travel to do so. She was able to do that when he went to Las Vegas. I think I said Oakland. Maybe I said Oakland. When he went to Las Vegas, if he gets cut by the Jets and he's able to come back to the Packers, he might not want top dollar, right? He's definitely getting older. However, he can still win a lot of routes. He would be a guy that you'd be able to get those quick slants off, and a guy that's going to be able to win his routes quickly. On top of that, the Packers way back in the day used to be you had a room full of veterans, and every like 3 to 4 years you would draft another guy that would replace one of the older veterans. That younger guy would get a couple of years to kind of come up in the system, would understand like the Packers way when it came to wide receivers. And I feel like the Packers have kind of broken away from that. I don't know if they necessarily intended to. There's been areas of focus, and of course that just hasn't been it over the last few years. So I think if you bring Devontae back, he still has that like mentoring that he could do and kind of teach these other receivers like that Packers way. I think that would be huge. That'd be really big to have that coaching and have him kind of reestablish that kind of routine if we could get it back. So that's my choice. Plus, I just love Devontae. He's been great the years that he's been here, and I don't know. That's my choice. Key says the biggest need in the draft. It just depends on what the board is. I'm not a big fan of like reaching to get what you feel is the need. Take the best player available. You can always use playmakers. Chad says, now that we are out of cap hell, do you see Goop being more aggressive in free agency to bring in some reinforcements? Yeah, I mean, I think so. I could see him making a splash. I think it just depends what's there and who's there and what people mean by a splash. I think, I saw someone comment on my page this week of like, oh, the current general manager never, it was on like a Reggie White thing. And he's like, the current general manager nowadays never signs any big players. And it's like, he just signed Josh Jacobs and Xavier McKinney. Xavier was all pro. Both were pro bowlers. What do you mean he never signs anyone? He literally just signed those. He signed the Smith brothers the first year he came in, or maybe his second year as GM. His first, I think it was his first like real off season as GM. He signed the Smith brothers, Amos, Billy Turner. The dude's made moves, far more moves than Ted Thompson did. Now, I'm not hating on Ted. Ted was a lot more draft and develop and not overspend on guys. So, that's both have their thing, but man, it's so funny how fans just get so short-sighted of like, oh, this GM doesn't do that when literally he just did that. Mr. Falk says, if you had the choice between having the Packers win 4 out of the next 10 Super Bowls, but you can only watch the games the day after the actual games were played, no live viewing any games, or keep everything as is and roll the dice, what would you choose? So, Jason, if I'm understanding this right, it means for the next 10 years, I cannot watch the Packers the day of. I think it'd be hard not to say winning 4 out of the next 10 Super Bowls. That'd be a phenomenal thing. But I think if I'm doing this agreement, it probably takes out the fun of winning a Super Bowl if it's expected. On top of that, I can't even go celebrate a Super Bowl win because of the fact that I'm assuming I'm in the dark on the results of anything until the following day. So I can't even go out and enjoy a Super Bowl win. I think I'm going to keep it as it is. I would love to win 4 Super Bowls out of the next 10, but I'd love to be watching it live and being able to enjoy that excitement and being able to go and celebrate a Super Bowl after the fact if it were to happen. Let's see here. Matt, be honest with me, man. Are you drinking some good stuff tonight? I love that you're being here. I'm curious if you're are you vibing? Uh I like these questions, man. I'm curious how you're coming up with them. I hope you're having one. You're having one for me, I hope. If your son grew up to play in the NFL and was drafted by the Vikings, how would you react? Would you rep his jersey? You would rep his jersey, but would you do the school chant clap? I mean, obviously, I would support my son first. My son would be first in my life over everything sports related. It would be a little awkward. I have a Packers tattoo, so that would be a little awkward. That's a good question. My brother and my dad would be elated if my son played in the for the Vikings. You know, I've always wondered that because Brian Balaga grew up a Bears fan, got drafted by the Packers. Lucas Van Ness, a Bears fan, got drafted by the Packers. I'm sure there's been other Vikings fans, Bears fans that Packers have drafted. You know, I don't know if one of the 4 Lions fans there was before this year has gotten drafted by the Packers, but I wouldn't do the skull chant. No chance on that. But I would wear his jersey. I would support him 110%. My son's over everything for sure, but not doing the skull chant. No chance. And like we talked about, Matt, there's no chance he's allowed to be a Vikings fan in this household. That's for sure. Yeah, I'm with you, Matt. Hope it's not a Chiefs Eagles game. Let's see here. Matt's coming in with some heaters tonight. I feel like I'm pretty behind in the chat, but Jason, since you asked that question, I'm curious for you. Would you take that deal? Would you not have any parties for the next 10 years? You just got to like find out the results the next day. I'm curious. Let me know in the comments if you guys would take that deal. If you could not watch Packers games live for the next 10 years and you had to watch every game and find out the results the next day, but it guarantees 4 Super Bowls over the next 10 years, would you do it? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Derek, the link for the giveaway is I posted it a couple times in here, so feel free to scroll back and find it. Thanks for joining, man. Let's see here. Seeing a lot of conversation. You guys got any other questions here? See if I missed anything. If not, I mean, that's fine. We're just kind of hanging out. I see so many conversations going. I feel like I'm oh, Jenny, good to see you. Thanks for swinging in. Hope you're staying warm. All right. I see some people let's see here. Here's that giveaway link again. Joe, I didn't see your question. I see Heather one. How many years do you think Gary will stay? I believe he'll retire a Packer. I think truly it just depends on I think truly it depends on his performance. The Packers signed him to a pretty sizable contract, and if he's not getting the results, I don't think the Packers will keep him around beyond that or even through his full contract. The NFL is a game of what have you done for me? So, you know, if he's just not performing, we saw Kenny get signed to a contract extension this past off season. Had he done so this year, I think his numbers would have looked a little bit more drastically different for what he would have got offered. So I think it's tough. I hope we see Kenny bounce back, and I hope we see Gary bounce back as well. You'd get good sleep. Yeah, I mean, that's true. I don't know, man. I think My argument is if you know it's going to happen, I think it takes away the fun out of it. I want the Packers to win, and I want it to be like an organic win. And I feel like if the Packers won the Super Bowl because it like I wished upon a star and like the magic genie did it, I feel like then it's not like doesn't feel the same. I mean, for all the your Packers brethren, that's why you're a better man than me, Jason. Um, that's why you're a better man than me. Chad, that is interesting. That's the Cowboys are the only team in the NFC not to get to an NFC Championship game this century. I think it said some 1992 or 1993. Funny, think about how many times the Packers have been responsible for that. Last year they were the 2016 season they were. The Packers have been responsible for that a few times now, and I love that. Steve, I did not see your comments. I don't know. How it comes in here, sometimes they just flow pretty wild. So sorry if I missed something. Do you think Jair is a Packer next year? Right now, my gut's saying no. I think they move on from him unless he's going to restructure his contract. If he restructures his contract, maybe he'll stick around. But I think for his current salary, I like Jair. I think he's great when he's on the field. But man, if you're not able to stay on the field, it's really tough to keep you around, especially if they can cut loose and get a lot more cap savings. So I think unfortunately that's going to happen. And yeah, man, I love Kenny. I hope Kenny. You put Kenny respect on Kenny's name. I love Kenny. I hope Kenny bounces back. Kenny's been super reliable for us. He's still super young as a defensive tackle. I hope that's a dude that stays a Packer forever. I hope he retires a Packer. But we'll see what happens. Should be interesting. All right, we can get into some giveaways here. Let's knock out some giveaways. Before we do so, as always, a huge thank you to Nicolay Law for making these all possible. Without Nicolay Law, I would not be able to do these giveaways each week. Obviously, all this stuff costs money, and I'm too broke for that. I got an 18-month-old upstairs. He's got to go to college or something down the way, so I can't afford that. So huge thank you to Nicolay Law for making it possible. All season long, we're doing giveaways, at least one per game. Tonight we got two. We added a scenario last week that if a 1 seed lost, we would do a bonus giveaway, which the 1 seed did lose. The other thing would be if the Eagles lost, we were going to do an additional one. The Eagles, because they're the ones who knocked out the Packers, so we're kind of extending that scenario to them. If it is the first time that you've watched, all season long, basically what we've been doing is every time the Packers lose, we would be doing a bonus giveaway because, when bad things happen in your life, Nicolay Law has your back. So if they have their back over something as minor as the Packers losing, imagine what they'd be able to do for you if you're in need of them, if you're injured. So if you are injured, get Nicolay. Nicolay Law represent. Matt knows what I'm talking about. He knows. So let's do some giveaways. Kyle, appreciate that, man. Appreciate it. All right. Let's see the responses here. Just checking through quick, make sure I don't have a bunch of duplicates. I don't think I see a lot of familiar faces who all kind of know the process now at this point, but you never know. Awesome. And as always, I'm not going to share my screen quite yet because I want to make sure that I'm not showing anyone's email address or anything like that. Last thing I want to do is share some information that shouldn't be shared with anyone. All right. Corey, is Logan not with you tonight? I don't see his entry. Is he not with you tonight? Maybe he's out doing some other fun stuff. So we have 25 entries, and maybe his entry's there, or maybe his thing's there, and I didn't see it over my quick over my quick glance through. If not, hope he's doing well. Hope everything's going well there. Give me something or our snap streak ends. Is that a threat, Matt? I don't even know. Did you enter? We shall see. We're going to do 2 entries tonight. So good luck to you guys. And here we go. We have Alfonso. Oh, what game is he playing, Corey? Alfonso, give me 1 through 40, up or down if you could, please. And then here's our second winner of the night. Oh, Corey snagging another one, man. I think that's is that your second time winning this year? I would do another one. But to be honest with you, we're running low on giveaways, and I got to make them stretch the Super Bowl. So, Corey, I see you're still here. Give me 1 through 40, up or down. And Alfonso, if you are in here watching, give me 1 through 40, up or down. If neither person claims by the end of the episode, there's Alfonso. So I got his. We got 33 down, which shows how low we're getting because you're down to 6 for 33 down. Sorry about our snap streak, Matt. I think what are we on, like 8 years, 7 years for our Snapchat streak? Just a couple dudes and they're like a couple grown adults just doing a snap streak every day. It's because we're BFFs. And we got 3. Nice. Some low ones here. Yeah, I think I only have like 7 left for the year. So yeah, we got 7 left. And depending on what happens, we got to make sure that we have enough to last us through the Super Bowl. So, Alfonso, you have 6. Let's see what you got here. Alfonso, you have won 2. It's about time we've seen one of these. Got yourself a $20 Packers Pro Shop gift card. I think there's a few of them, so maybe Corey won one of these too. We'll see. We haven't seen those at all this year, which is really surprising because I think I got 2 or 3 of those in here. Let's see what Corey got. I didn't even show you Corey number 3, not that you could see it anyway. Corey, you won a Mark Tauscher signed 8x10. So congratulations there, Corey. I'm pretty sure I have your address from when you won last. So I will get that out to you. And then Alfonso, I'll reach out to you on how we want to do this Pro Shop gift card. I'm just going to probably send it straight from the Pro Shop. So we will we'll go from there. Matt, maybe I should just buy some merch. Maybe that's what I should do. Since you are a friend, I should probably buy some of your merch. I'm terrible at that. Speaking of which, shout out to my guy Matt. We're gonna plug his website here real quick before we get into the just talking about Matt. Did you not pay your domain? I think we talked about that the other night. Did you let this expire? Or am I doing something wrong? I think you let it expire. Come on, Matt. You're killing me here, Smalls. Killing me. All right, let's talk about once again, thank you to Nikolai Law for making this possible, making these giveaways possible. I know people appreciate them. I know people like hanging out and talking, and it's fun to be able to give things back to people. So that's a lot of fun. All right, let's talk about the games this weekend. Probably going to be pretty quick. We're probably going to be wrapping up here relatively soon. Just nature of the beast of where we're at in the year. But we have the Chiefs at the Bills. Or maybe we should start with the other one. Eagles, our Commanders at Philly. That's a 2:00 game, 2:00 Central. At least that's what Google told me. That should be an interesting game. I one thing that didn't register for me right away is that's a division rival game. So are the Commanders the like 2010 Packers? They're getting hot at the right time. They're gonna have to go play the 2 seed division rival to potentially get into the postseason and punch their ticket. It's gonna be an interesting one, that's for sure. I do think my gut is telling me who almost left the studio. If I'm following my gut, I feel like the Eagles are going to win. I hope I'm wrong. We didn't talk about our scenario. The scenario this week. So we still have the Eagles. If the Eagles lose, we'll do a bonus giveaway because they're the ones who knocked out the Packers. And the other scenario is if the Chiefs lose, we will do a bonus giveaway next week. As always, we're going to do one scenario or one giveaway no matter what. So if you're new here, come back and join us again next Tuesday as well. We'll be doing at least one giveaway. We still have a giveaway, a jersey to give away as well. So maybe someone will win that soon. I do think the Eagles are going to win if the Commanders can show up like they did against the Lions. Then I don't know. I think it could be anyone's business. They were really powerful against the Lions. Offensively, they felt like everything was going right. Defensively, they were able to rattle Goff. They were able to generate a lot of turnovers. If you can do that against the Eagles are definitely going to be a team you could beat. However, the Eagles have a really stellar defense, and the Eagles have a incredible run game. They can really stretch out those games and make the time go quick. It should be a good one. I hope it's a really good one. I hope we see Washington lead it. I hope we see them bring home the George Halas Trophy so they can go to the Super Bowl. And yeah, I don't know. I think it'd be fun just to see a new team in the Super Bowl for first time in a while. I do say, I'm like, oh man, we're going to be hating the Commanders if they keep having the success. But as of right now, we'll enjoy this. And then we have Bills at the Chiefs, 5:30 p.m., which that's going to be a stellar game. I hope we see the Bills upset the Chiefs. If my gut's thinking that that's going to be what happens, but I feel like that. I felt like the Chiefs were going to lose numerous times so far this year, and they just keep winning. So it's going to be a tough one as well. But my prediction is that we're getting a Bills Washington Super Bowl. If I had to go with my gut, I hope I'm wrong. But it feels like maybe it's going to be another Eagles Chiefs Super Bowl. I hope I'm wrong. I hope my heart of Bills Washington Super Bowl wins over what my head's telling me. What are you guys thinking? Thanks, Matt. Good to see you, man. You're my hero as well. I'm just trying to get on your level. I think everyone, I see Heather's in here saying Washington and Bills. So I think I'm not alone in hoping for that. But it should be an interesting time nonetheless. It is wild that we're already talking about the championship games and we're already wrapping that up, wrapping the season up, and it's going to be done before you know it. I have another project that I'm excited to be announcing here. I'll probably announce it right before the Super Bowl because the live show is going to be coming to an end after the Super Bowl. That Tuesday after the Super Bowl will be our final show. So, yeah, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me for the last hour. I hope you have a good rest of your week. I hope you stay warm, even though the Packers aren't playing. As always, go Pack, go. And we will see you next Tuesday, same time, same place. Yeah. Talk to you then. Have a good rest of your week. Go Pack, go, and go Washington, and go Buffalo. All right. Have a good rest of your week, guys. Talk to you later.